This is a quick tutorial on how to create a clipping mask, which is how to clip or crop some objects. It doesn't clip them permanently, but is really helpful in layout. So let's go to our Illustrator page. I've already put some items on here. Sometimes I'm going to want some items to be able to overlap or not be seen on my layout. And let's take, for example, these letters that I've created. I went to create outlines and say I want to be a little bit artistic and have them overlap my edge, but I don't want them to show in the margin here. Maybe let's even put some transparency on these. If you haven't done transparency yet, there's its own, if you go to Window, Transparency, you'll find its own box to make these kind of 50% transparent, give kind of an interesting effect. So let's say I want these objects to overlap the edge of my page and not show up in the margin there where they are. First of all, everything I want to clip, I need to group. So I'm going to Command G or Control G on your PC, and those are in a group now. And then I'm going to draw a mask or an object over them that's going to define where they're going to show up. So I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, or I can push M, and draw a mask here that goes right up to the guide. So I want to cover the area that I want to show up and leave whatever I want not to show up hanging out. So this could be really big and go over here. I'll just kind of make it a little bigger than my object. It doesn't actually matter what color my clipping mask is, it's going to turn clear after I create it. So I have that on top of the objects. Make sure it has to be on top. If you need to, you can go to Object, Arrange, and Bring to Front, send things backwards to make sure that the right thing is on top. I have that selected. I'm going to Shift and select the group underneath, so they're both selected. And now I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And you'll notice it clips those objects to the shape of the one that was on top. Now if I ever go back and say, oh, maybe I want to change things around, I can always go back to Clipping Mask, Release, and it's going to go back. My box is still here. It turned it clear, so it's harder to see. It is still there. But let's say I need to just kind of nudge the underlying things a little bit and say, okay, I want to clip it that way. Now I can just select them all again. Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and it goes back to that way. So this is really helpful for keeping things clean, making things clip down to a certain shape. I can even take, maybe I've got a lot of different patterns. Let's say I've got some squares here. This is going to be extremely ugly, but we'll just do it quickly to show what we can do. Got a little pattern of squares going on, and let's say I want to clip them into something that looks round. I'm going to select them all, group them. I can click L for ellipse, or I can go over here. It's underneath the rectangle tool is the ellipse tool. Hold down Shift to make it a perfect circle. And now I'm going to take this circle, select the things underneath, and create a clipping mask. And you can see I've made something round filled with those squares. And this acts just like an object of its own. I can drag it around, I can resize it, I can do anything I want. So there's some really helpful information.